How's it going, YouTube? This is Silky speaking. I hope you guys are well. This video is going to be about the topic of users and abusers. Users and abusers in the sense that you are in contact or in a close proximity with a group of people, and they require you for their own self-benefit. They need you, whether in this would be in the sense of money or shelter, etc. They need you. And the thing is, when they finally get what they need, they just forget you automatically like that. In that sense, this is why I call this video Users and Abusers. I want to let you know from the start that I hate users and abusers. I hate people who only tell you words of confidence, words of love, words of encouragement, only because they want to get something out of it. It makes you question life. It makes you question yourself. It makes you question that, did I do as good as I thought I did? Or was she just lying and making it up just to get something out of me? I mean, you know, well, long story short, we were helping a bunch of people get their lives together, get their homes together. We were responsible for, we let them drive our cars to their schools, gave them money for gas, gave them food, shelter, clothing, etc., jewelry. And this lasted for about 5 months. I'm not going to mention any names, but if they're watching, I hope they are. Maybe this video will serve as a reflection upon themselves. They're a part of a clergy. Sorry. They're a part of a clergy, actually. Islamic clergy, but clergy nonetheless, where they preach about religion and good tidings, etc. And I'm cool with that. You prefer to keep your head covered. You prefer to bundle up when you go outside. You don't prefer to listen to music. You don't prefer to watch television, etc. That's cool. If it's something that you do on your own free will and no one's forcing you to, then that's cool, because I believe that you shouldn't be forced to do anything that you don't want to do. So if you want to do something, it should be on your own free will. But don't shove it down my throat. If you like to do a certain thing, that's fine, but don't force me to do it, and don't try to give me a guilty conscience, because it ain't gonna fucking work. But back to topic. On the final day of their stay before they left, their attitude was so cold. So cold. They were not even speaking a word to me. At first you would think it was probably due to sadness because they've been here for 5-6 months, almost a year. And perhaps you'd think, oh, maybe they're just sad, that's why they don't want to talk. But the funny thing is, they had no problem talking to my son or talking to my mom, but for some reason they didn't want to talk to me. And when they left, and especially when I kept asking throughout the day, is there a problem, and yet they were silent. They were like, oh no, there's nothing wrong, and I'm like, okay, I'm trying to be frank here. But anyway, and it's kind of funny considering the fact a day before their actual departure, it was their daughter's graduation from college, and I was the one who did her makeup, and I was the one who sat in the front audience screaming my head off when they called her name for her to come and get her diploma. Seriously, what the fuck? After all I've done for you, and you're flipping this shit back at me? And let me tell you the last thing they said to me when they left my house, literally left the foundation of my house. Their mother said, oh, now Silky will have so much peace and relaxation because we're not going to be around. Let me repeat that. Now Reshmi's going to be so relaxed and peaceful because we won't be there anymore. Really? You stay in my house, eat my food, sleep in my bed practically, use my water, my gas, my electricity, my cars, and you have the nerve to say that on the very last day, the very last moment you leave my house, you're basically saying, oh, we needed to use you now, so we don't need you anymore, so fuck off. That is why I hate users and abusers. I hate them. And I hate people who constantly interfere with the things with what you're doing or not, particularly when the things you're doing don't really have that much impact or that much of a damaging effect on what you're doing. These people were getting so pissed off because I chose to go to a co-ed gym, because the closest female gym, all female gym, was like on the other side of the city, and I couldn't. It's not practical to spend so much gas money to go and come back just to be with a bunch of women. I mean, for God's sake, it's a gym, not a strip club. There's nothing wrong with exercising in front of men. I mean, what are you doing? You're just walking on a treadmill. You're not flashing your boobs for everybody to see. I mean, and if those women are doing, then isn't that a good thing? Those guys will be so busy looking at those exhibitionists, they won't have any time to look at me. So what's the problem? And another thing is, you people have such an and I'm not talking about Muslims in particular. I'm talking about strict religious people. It could be Christians, Hindus, Jews, whatever. It doesn't necessarily have to be Muslims, but you over strict people have such a strange attitude when it comes to a girl interacting with a guy. You won't even shake hands with the guy. But the thing is, you guys are all you ever talk about is, "Oh, my daughter has to marry this guy. My daughter has to marry this guy." I mean, you have so many don't do this with the guy, don't do that with the guy, and yet a guy is clearly all you ever think of. If you converse with a guy, like if I converse with a guy like, "Oh, what time is it?" You guys are automatically thinking that I probably have sex on my mind, which makes you even more dirty-minded than most Westerners. And that's really fucked. What the hell is the matter with you? You come into someone's house, and then after that, you are so ungrateful? That's being completely ungrateful. And that goes against your religious teachings. It goes against everything that you stand for. It goes against everything that you preach and that you teach. You're preaching, but you're not practicing what you preach. And that's totally hypocritical. Hypocrisy. I hate users and abusers. It's sucked enough to have them in my own family. But the minute you start thinking that you're making friends, and the minute you start getting comfortable with a certain group of people, they automatically make an overnight switch. The minute they get what they need, and then they're gone. And then here I am, sitting here, wondering to myself that, why do I even bother trying to be nice or trying to be kind to people when this is what I'm going to get? Like, I mean, had it in those particular months that they've been here, had they been rude or abusive, then it would have been less of a shock and I would have gotten over it. But when they've been so sweet throughout the entire 5 to 6 months, and on the last day all of a sudden became stone cold, uppity, I mean, sure, I won't lie. Everyone has faults and flaws and pet peeves. And you have to overlook them. You really do. But all of a sudden, an overnight switch, it's like we don't even know you anymore. Really. I hate users and abusers. I mean, that's why so many people leave religion, whether it's Christianity, Islam, Judaism, whatnot. That's why so many people leave religion, because of people like that. And they're supposed to be, and their father's a priest, for God's sake. If you're preaching this kind of crap about being nice and sweet, but on the very last day changing everything you believe, no wonder everyone's leaving religion. No wonder everyone's leaving God, because of people like you. Jesus Christ, I mean, God, get it together. At least for yourselves. Because I believe in God, and for those who don't believe in God, the atheists believe in karma. And what you do to someone, you're gonna get back in a full throttle, so to speak. I mean, for every action, there's an equal but opposite reaction. You hurt somebody intentionally, then eventually you're going to get hurt back. If not you, then somebody you love. God said, or maybe not God, I don't know who said this, but somebody said that when you help somebody, don't expect anything back in return. And perhaps that is true. We shouldn't. I wasn't expecting a gold medal or a Mercedes car or a I don't know, a golden ring. I mean, I was expecting just a thank you and recognition and respect. That's all. And is that so much to ask? Is that so much to ask? Fuck no, it's not. And anyone who thinks it's too much to ask can immediately unsubscribe themselves. Because respect is not a big thing to ask. And it's not difficult to give respect. It isn't. I mean, for God's sake. I mean, and here's another thing that is so rude, so mind-boggling, a rude statement. I mean, then one of their male family members has the nerve, he's unmarried, but he's going to get married eventually. To whom? I don't really give a damn, because that's not my problem. He had the nerve to come to me and tell me that, oh, Silky, someone was suggesting that I marry you, but I turned them down because I thought the idea was silly. And I'm just kind of standing there like, what? And I said, dude, I really don't know how to react to this. I don't know whether to feel insulted or whether just to walk away. I mean, granted for the fact that, dude, I don't find you attractive in any sense, and I really don't. And now I find you even more unattractive now. But you don't go up to someone and say, you don't go up to someone and say that, particularly when you're staying in my house and particularly when you're driving my car. Particularly when we're cooking food for you, particularly when we're taking care of your sick mother with her high blood pressure, you don't go and say, "Oh, I wouldn't marry you." When the hell did I even offer? I didn't even know that was an option. What the fuck is the matter with you? This is the type of bullshit I'm talking about. Was that even called for? That wasn't even called for. I mean, if someone were to suggest you something like, oh, I think this person is good, why don't you marry her? You don't have to. That's fine. But the thing is, don't go telling that person that. It's not polite. And particularly when you're indebted to that person. Because let's face it, it's a rude thing to do. And it's highly awkward. I mean, some people have no sense. Some people have no sense at all. Dude, I don't even look at you that way. Why are you telling me this? Dude, what the fuck? I hate users and abusers with a passion. And these are one of the reasons why if somebody needs help, I have to think about it before I actually try and help them. Because let's face it, I mean, you help them and they just turn into completely different people afterwards. At first they're angels, and then on the last day they become the devil. It's shocking. There are very few people in the world that I like, and even more few of those whom I love. It makes you lose your faith in humanity. This has nothing to do with my weight loss or anything, because in spite of all the situations, thank God, I can still manage to maintain eating properly, going to the gym, taking care of my kid, etc., and everything that comes through it. But it's just a video to talk about what is wrong with people. Humanity, go home. You're fucking drunk. I mean, Who on earth says that? Who on earth on the last day comes to your face and say, "Oh, you're going to be so peaceful now that we're not there"? Really? Who on earth comes to you and says, I think it's a foolish idea that you and I get buried"? Wow, I didn't even know that was an option. But thank you for telling me. Now you've encouraged me to stay the hell away from you as far as possible. There's no fear in God anymore. Doesn't anybody fear that they might go to heaven or hell? This is strictly for theists. Atheists, you don't have to watch this. But I can understand why people wonder why certain people don't want to talk to people. These are the exact reasons, because people are bitches. You try to be nice to them, you try to help them for the sake of help making their lives better and for the sake of pleasing the one above, but all of a sudden, poof, they change. And you're wondering, what's the matter with you? I mean, go home, humanity. You are fucking drunk.